Hi, welcome to Tanya's late night music analysis. Tonight I'm going to be looking at and talking about Rachmaninoff performing his own Piano Concerto No.2 with the Philadelphia Orchestra in 1929, conducted by Leopold Stokowski. I'm going to be talking about why Rachmaninoff's performance is still one of the most authoritative recordings that exist, and what it is about the way he performs this piece that makes it so very compelling. I hope you enjoy this video. Okay, let's start it. Rachmaninoff playing his own piano concerto. Okay, so this was recorded many years ago in 1929. I mean, I can't imagine how much better recordings are now, but even in 1929 you can hear how incredible his actual dynamic control is. Dynamics are about the amount of soft or louds, that's piano or fortes, within the music, and you can hear how he starts off mysteriously, like a mist rising almost, into a thunderous entrance when the orchestra starts. So let's hear the beginning again and just hear how quietly he sounds in the beginning. Hear that build up. That was absolutely incredible, absolutely incredible. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so the main theme, la 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 la, which is a very sort of like it's like a march, but like almost like a Russian folk march with a lot of passion and depth within it. But beneath that, you can hear the piano driving the beat, and it's playing the very lowest notes. But in this recording, it's extraordinary how his piano sounds almost like, you know, its own double. It's like a double bass instrument. It's like it's so deep, like almost like the equivalent of drum and bass now. He manages to get that tone on the piano, even when recording techniques were not that great in 1929. I mean, they barely had really good gramophone records. People were listening to music on these gramophone records with probably these sort of trumpet-like speakers coming out. So what a phenomenal pianist. Just the first 20 seconds of this, it's just mind-blowing. Let's listen a bit more. So did you hear that bass in the piano? It really sounds like a plucked string. It doesn't sound like a piano. There's something about the way he's punctuating the attack of the notes. And I mean, Rachmaninoff was a very tall man very large handspan, but I imagine that with that height and strength, he must have been very strong and tall and statuesque, and I can only imagine that would really help bring out this driven, very punctuated, passionate attack on those lower notes. It's very, very hard to be able to do this with a full orchestra. Many, many times I hear pianists playing this beginning and they are totally drowned out. And when I hear this, I always listen to the first minute of this piece really tells you everything about whether a pianist is going to be able to take this incredible virtuosic piano concerto on. I love these moments. It sounds very Hollywood and glamorous. There's something really lush after that incredible, like intense, passionate beginning, almost martial. We have this expansion of phrasing in the strings mainly, and it's just so, yeah, almost languorous and so melodic. It is so Hollywood in a way, but not in a glamorous, glitzy way. But it's just so, I don't know, breathtaking. All right. Okay, did you hear the way he came in? It just felt as if it was just like a friend just making a comment after the orchestra played that lush melody. It was just so subtle. It wasn't like a statement that I'm coming in. It just felt as it was just the most natural thing for it to gradually sort of just come in. Da, 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 da. Almost like he's singing in a very casual way. Let's keep going. I love that. I love it. Right, let's go back a bit. Let's go back a bit. All right, it's coming up here. Oh. Oh. Right, that is just so eloquent. The way Stokowski is bringing in those pizzicatos in a way that just so blends in to that beautiful, eloquent, expressive melody that Rachmaninoff is playing. Let's hear what happens next. Okay, that was so exciting. It was just a combination of so much romantic lushness followed by this crazy dynamism that just then suddenly jolts us and suddenly kind of stops, and then we are going to get this. Let's hear what he does here. Okay, the first time I ever heard his recording of him playing his own concerto, I think that my mind just like, I remember it was years ago when I first heard it, and I'd never heard anyone playing the Rachmaninoff Concerto No. 2 in this way. Can you hear that it feels so improvised? It feels as if he's almost making up the melody as he's going along. And I think for me, some of the most extraordinary pianists that I've heard playing at any point, they're almost able to play a passage in a way that doesn't sound as if they've ever even had to practice it or rehearse it. It has this combination of this ease, almost improvisational quality, this really natural flow to it. Anyway, so I will play a little bit more of this and let's see what happens. Oh, beautiful. Can you hear the way he was just lingering so much on certain phrases like da 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 da, and he wasn't afraid to take his time in the most expressive moments. And I think that when you're composing, you really know what you are wanting to convey, and what it feels as if it's coming from the soul, obviously because you've written it. I think it's sheer genius when some pianists are able to do this. If they're not the composer, it almost feels as if you can do this, if you can make it feel that it's coming from the soul, it isn't coming from your ego like Rachmaninoff is playing it. It feels so honest and truthful, and I love the way he's taking his time over the phrases, and that's what you call rubato, but it doesn't feel, it feels so fresh. I wouldn't ever have thought that Rachmaninoff recorded this in 1929. Anyway, so that's a section of that, and I hope it was helpful, but I mean, I hope it was interesting. I think that Rachmaninoff is probably one of the most extraordinary, most like gifted, genius composers and pianists of the 20th century, and he was living at a really interesting time, because he was almost bridging the 20th century with the 19th century. You have that really sort of expressive romanticism that you get with you get with say Scriabin's piano music, but at the same time there's that sort of, I don't know, this elegant, glamorous, almost Hollywood lushness as well. I mean, even now in audiences, even now it's one of the most popular piano concertos, and I think that it's so in our repertoire, it's so embedded in every virtuosic pianist's repertoire that some people say it's been played too much, but that's why I think it's such a hard piano concerto to perform, because it's been played so much. It is a war horse, as they say, but it's been played so much that to be able to perform it in a way that's individual and new, and to be able to let the audience or show the audience a new way to play it or to reveal new things about the score, I think it's very difficult, and it's extremely difficult to better Rachmaninoff's own performance of his own piano concerto. So anyway, that's my thoughts on this, and I will be back soon for another video.